Good afternoon. Thank you for having me, and it's so great to catch up with you once again.
Always lovely chatting with you, Chef. Let's give context to those who are listening for the first time and want to know the work of the SA Chefs Association. You know, they may be listening from Angola, from Burkina Faso, Mozambique, and they're just not familiar with the work that you're doing. Please paint a picture for us of the work of the SA Chefs Association.
So, the SA Chefs Association is the professional body that represents all cooks, chefs, and caterers within the South African hospitality and culinary sector, and that's made up of professional chefs, well, not really home cooks, but cooks that have the trade, caterers, as well as culinary students and schools. And SA Chefs gives you the platform through various sectors and avenues within the hospitality industry. So, be it through training programs, be it through accreditation, be it through events, and more importantly, and I think why we're going to be talking about is competitions. And I think competitions for any young chef is a great platform, to elevate your career to the next level, to participate on not just the national stage, but also have the opportunity of participating and representing your country on the global stage.
Chef, I think it's also very important that people get to know you a bit better because you are the president of this association, but no doubt that's not where you started. And perhaps for those who are embarking on the culinary journey, they would love to hear, where did Chef Khoo's journey begin that led him to this moment where you're now the president and you've been at the helm for quite a few years now?
Yeah. So I think, with any chef for that matter, I think it starts off with that spark of passion, because to be a chef, it has to come from within. You've got to have a love for cooking. You've got to have a love and passion for food. And that's where my love and passion stem from. And I think growing up in a very large family, being surrounded by nine aunts and uncles and everybody, and growing up in a very large Indian household, everything revolves around food, be it a celebration, be it just a weekend at grandparents, everybody gathers together and it's about food. And it's not just an Indian household. I think it's just the South African thing to do. And every aunt and uncle, and including my parents, they each had a kind of a signature that they were good at. And that's how I then, fell in love with food and everything about food. And I started experimenting from a very young age. I still remember, in standard 3, or I think as it's now referred to as grade 5, we had show and tell at school, and I did a whole pizza making demonstration from scratch, mind you, where I actually made the pizza dough in the class, and I asked the teacher for some extra time because I needed my dough to prove and rise. I made the toppings, I made the pizza sauce, and it was such a great experience for me. And I think that's, again, it just elevated my passion even further. But interestingly enough, Tebogo, I actually, after school, I didn't go straight into culinary. I actually studied towards a degree in accounting, believe it or not. And as the universe may have it, doing my vocational work at one of the auditing firms, I was previewed into one of their clients being a hotel, and I was previewed into the back of house of this hotel, and that's where I saw chefs live in action, cooking and flames going up and the shouting and that adrenaline rush that was happening. And that's when I said, this is where I want to be. And I look forward. I skipped accounting. I then registered at culinary school. I did an in-service training program. And like they say, the rest is history. And 21 years down the line, here I am, sitting as the president of the South African Chefs Association, leading, I think, one of the most noble trades in our working or professional working world. And now also having an opportunity to give back, and not just giving back as president of the association, but mentoring young chefs, speaking to chefs, interacting with professional chefs, and just helping one another out to elevate not just them, but also elevating our trade as chefs.
Oh, what an inspirational story it is, Chef Koo. And we'll get into conversation about the African Culinary Cup. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll understand a bit better what the work and the hope is for this year's African Culinary Cup, as well as Hostex. I hear that's also around the corner. 21 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time, our conversation with the president of the South African Chefs Association, Chef Koo Pillay, continues after this.
Zilipendwa na Abedi Jean de la Croix.
Historia msikilizaji ya Valentine Day au siku ya wapendanao ilianzia katika nyakati za kale za dola la Roma. Watafiti wengi wa historia wanaamini kuwa siku hii inahusishwa na sherehe za kipagani zilizokuwa zikifanyika kila mwaka katikati ya mwezi Februari. Msikilizaji, sherehe hizo zilijulikana kama Lupercalia na zilifanyika kuadhimisha uzazi, upendo na mwanzo wa majira ya kuchipua.
Zilipendwa kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati hadi saa 1 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are the upside.
22 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time, still in conversation with the South African Chefs Association President, Chef Koo Pillay, as they get ready for the return of the African Culinary Cup in June 2026. Chef, what is the African Culinary Cup?
So, before we get to what the African Culinary Cup is, I think for us as the South African Chefs Association, it's such a proud moment for us because this is a competition that actually was started by SA chefs under the leadership of former President Stephen Billingham in 2014. And his vision at the time and the board's vision at the time was to create something that was uniquely African. We participate in various global competitions, as you know, with your interactions with us as the association. We have the Global Chefs Competition, we have the Culinary Olympics, but we wanted to, or SA chefs wanted to create something that was uniquely African and it showcase the talent within the continent, and also creating an environment, especially for the developing countries like Ghana and Mauritius and Namibia, who at the time were trying to elevate their culinary skills and standards to that global level. And that was the vision behind why African Culinary Cup was actually inaugurated. And now looking back, and seeing how this competition has grown from only having 3 participating countries on the first one to now where we've invited 15 countries. And let me tell you, since 2014, this African Culinary Cup has traveled, and it's traveled to various regions and countries around the continent, to North Africa, to West Africa. It's even been to the Middle East. And now it's coming back home to Cape Town in June this year. And we are hoping that we do get the 15 invited countries to come through and participate. And these are countries like Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Ghana, Libya, Mauritius, Namibia, and Botswana, just to name a few.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Chef, why is competition so important? I mean, we get to enjoy it as spectators. Like, okay, that's fantastic, pressure in the kitchen. But why is it so important for the professionals to be involved in such competitions?
I think now, especially in the age that we live in, on the digital age, where, let's be honest, everyone's an influencer, everyone's a food critic, and you gotta stay relevant, and you gotta be, trending. You gotta also not be left behind. And I think competitions give you that platform to remain relevant, to know what's happening in other parts of the world, to, also upskill yourself as a chef, because remember, yes, training schools and culinary schools give you that foundation, but over time skills also change, because with technology and the digital age, you also got to upskill yourself to new equipment, to new trends, to new ways of cooking. And I think this is the platform that competitions allow us to actually upskill ourselves and also remain competitive, because we also want to be leaders in our own right, whether it's in your individual capacity or as a country. And obviously, as South Africa, we want to be the leaders on the continent.
Quite a few things happening this year for the SA Chefs Association. You'll be partnered to Hostex this year, celebrating 40 years. Tell us about that milestone and the significance of the Hostex 40 years.
So SA Chefs has always been a strategic partner to Hostex. Hostex is obviously the hospitality expo, catering mainly to the food and beverage market, but also the greater restaurant and hotel market as well. And we've been a strategic partner to Hostex for a very long time. And we used to have what we used to call the Skillery. And during the 3-day event, we used the opportunity to showcase talent, to showcase skills, to do product activations. We even hosted many competitions, chef challenges. So this year, to celebrate Hostex's 40 years of their expo, we have now taken it up a notch. And we're now going to be creating the SA Chefs Village, where we're going to make it a lot more inclusive, and we're bringing in lots of fun aspects to it, merging technology with skills. I believe there's going to be some Iron Chef challenges, and if I'm not mistaken, I think we're even putting up a chef against a self-cooking oven to see who comes up tops.
That's going to be fascinating. And Chef, I think one of the most important things that you do is that you and you said it earlier, that you give back to the community. And as the SA Chefs Association, you give back to the youth. There's youth development and bursaries, which remain a pillar for the SA Chefs Association. And we have run out of time, unfortunately, but I would love to find out, how can people, professional chefs, young chefs, get involved at this year's African Culinary Cup, and also maybe the Hostex as well?
Absolutely. I think follow us on social media at SA Chefs. We are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, also on LinkedIn. And also, if you go onto our website, which is www.sachefs.co.za, there's a whole lot of information on various events that we will be participating in, and also how you can get involved, because you don't have to be a professional chef. You can actually register and become a member as an associate member, because a lot of people want to be part of this fascinating industry that I love, and I think 12,000 other members that we have love, and we want to share, and we want to share our skills. We want to share what we have to offer to the rest of the country.
Chef, always a pleasure chatting with you on Channel Africa. And I guess we'd love to hear your final words or your parting words for the upcoming chefs, those who are considering getting into this space. You mentioned earlier that passion needs to be the most important thing. That's where it started for you. But if you were to talk to the young person right now who thinks, you know what, I can cook, but I don't know if I need representation from SA Chefs Association, a professional body, nor do I need professional training, what would you say to them?
I think this is going to be a very general message to any young listener or viewer that you have out there, is to never doubt yourself. If you feel that you have a passion for a certain trade, my advice to you is to follow it, and don't allow other people to break you, because I know in the olden days, or the old days rather, it was always you had to go get a degree or get a diploma and go and find yourself a job. And I think now trade jobs are coming up to the forefront, things in the IT sector, in the digital sector, and obviously now in food and beverage. And to those aspiring chefs, if you, and again, you're never too old or too young to follow your passion. So even if you, like myself, you've gone into a different career path, but you have this passion for food, and you want to take it further, not necessarily opening up your own restaurant, but maybe you want to just, do something and go into product development or create a convenience food item. Follow your dream, follow your passion, and always believe in yourself, because remember, everything starts with a dream. If you look at all the big chefs out there, all the celebrity chefs, all these convenience products that we work with, all started with a vision and a dream. So always keep that in mind and never lose hope on your dreams. And SA Chefs will always be here to walk this road with you.
Chef Koo, thank you so much for your time. The president of the South African Chefs Association, Chef Koo Pillay. Check them out on social media, SA Chefs Association. 30 minutes after 1 p.m.